Hello everybody and welcome to All Sports Weekly episode 7. I am Trevor and with me this week I have Richard. How you going?
Alright mate.
Going well?
Yeah, I'm all good. Just
Good.
off the golf course. Straight here.
Nice. Very good. Very lucky to have you, mate. Basically everyone, well obviously if you're watching this we're on YouTube, we're also on SoundCloud. If you're watching this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the little notification thingy on the bells there. If you want to write us a comment, leave a message, anything like that, write it in the comments below. Also, you can reach us at allsportsweekly@outlook.com and we're on Twitter at allsportsweekly. I'll have the SoundCloud link pinned in the comments below. And we've also got a fan of the show, gentleman Neil Santos, fan of the show, comments each week, who's got a petition in there for anyone who might be interested in signing that. I'm not going to tell you any more than that, just have a look at it. And I'll leave it at that.
Interesting.
Yes, it is. Okay, Richard. So, mate, what have you been watching this week?
Not a lot, Trev. It's been a busy weekend, but as we're sort of in the lull between cricket and football season, and we've got a Grand Slam going on. So, second week is sort of when I start to really put some time in to sort of watch the big matches.
The big matches, yeah.
As the big players come together.
And for those wondering, I don't know if you're going to come clean, but you're a unashamed Rafael Nadal,
unashamed in love with
man
Rafa.
crush.
Yes.
How's you happy with the way he's going? He looked a little injured, a little bit maybe underdone, but seems to be looking stronger as we go.
Injured? Yeah, there was a lot of talk before about his back and everything. I don't think he's injured. The reason I say that is I think historically Nadal is, unless he's 100%, he pulls out. He likes to protect himself for predominantly the clay season and the French Open. So if there's any hint...
Where he's unbeatable on that. Yeah,
if there's any hint that he may do aggravating injury or anything like that, he doesn't play and he's pulled out of big matches. So I think he's pretty much can give 100% at the moment.
Was it maybe after 14 days in the hotel he thought, oh, I'm not going home after that?
Well, he was down in Adelaide, wasn't he?
I believe so.
I saw an Instagram post of Wawrinka, who was down there in quarantine, and it looked like a 5-star holiday to me when he was having lunch.
Really?
It was like a Montgomery Burns dining table.
Was it?
So,
yeah, I think the Adelaide... the people who quarantine in Adelaide had a bit of a better gig than the ones in Melbourne, I think.
Yeah, without
doubt. And that was the favouritism.
That was the fair issue, yeah.
But that's the way it went. Nadal, as we're filming this, Nadal is playing right now. He's gone a set up against Fognini. That game's happening as we're recording. Fognini, the Italian who made some headlines by having a bit of a spray with his fellow countrymen after the game. I don't know if you saw... Fognini, I think it was round 2, played another Italian, and then when it got to shaking hands or touching rackets there, they had a bit of a few words to say.
A bit of a Barney, and
I don't speak Italian, but I reckon there was a few words in there.
Well, from what I know, apparently what I read was the Fognini, I think, wanted an apology from his opponent for getting so lucky throughout the match.
I see.
And I think that's
win,
lose or draw. That's not really the way, shake hands. But in true sportsman style, come the press conference, they both said that what stays on the court, and they're friends. So.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't. It was an interesting little side story there. So we'll talk about the Australian Open. The matches, obviously, in a minute, but just the fact that it's worst case scenario, mid-tournament. COVID outbreak in Victoria. This is what they were hoping wouldn't happen. And mid-tournament, you've gone from having fans to now no fans. Now, Friday night, I caught a bit of it. You saw Kyrgios ended up losing to Team in a 5-setter.
Yep.
That was packed house, the crowd riding every shot, that atmosphere. That's obviously... The game just comes to life. Kyrgios, whether you like him or not, he generates interest, he generates hype. Then that next match after that was Novak's, and mid-game, fans were told they had to leave because they had to get home for midnight to go into lockdown. So you had, I think, the first set with fans, they suspend play and they empty the stadium.
Yeah.
I swear you'll never see anything like that in tennis again. The fans were booing. I think some of them had a few shandies. But I mean, what unbelievable scenes! And now you're watching these games, you can hear a pin drop, and it's just not the same.
No, it's not. I think, and last night through the match, I think the TV network started to put the fake cheering on through a few points, which just did not fit.
Are you a fan of that?
I
didn't mind it for the NRL.
Yes and no. It doesn't really bother me. It is different watching the stadium and seeing everything with the empty stadium and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I just more or less, if Melbourne public transport system, everyone gets home in half an hour.
That'd be a miracle. That'd be a miracle.
Well, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. I think they were probably giving them the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
There's two ways to look at it, Trev. I remember the article come on. I saw an article on, turned on the press conference, and all I wanted to hear was whether they made mention of the tennis. So, and there wasn't anything said by, I think it's Andrews, the Premier, but, he quite rightfully could have just said you're not playing for 5 days.
Yeah.
So we've still got tennis, the players.
He's treating it like as if that's their job. He's treating it like that's a job.
Yeah.
They're entitled to work, but no one who doesn't need to be there isn't there. I saw a bit last night. There's no lines people.
No.
It's all happening on computer.
I'm actually...
And I wonder if that might be a sign of things to come.
I'm a fan of it.
Right.
I understand there's volunteers out there who like every year to go to the Open, they give up their time, they're face-to-face in contact with players, but it's black and white.
Human error.
Yeah, human error is taken out of it, black and white. We all love a good stink. I remember...
McEnroe would have had nothing.
McEnroe, yeah. I remember seeing Roddick once, and all I wanted to do was see him break a racket and have a stink, and he did.
Yeah.
Didn't let you
down.
But, it's black and white, and...
Yeah.
Takes it all out.
Yeah.
We know we're getting the right call.
All the Aussie male players that are out, Dimonor was beaten. He was the last Aussie guy. Brings me back to the crowd thing. I think the thing with no crowd is obviously the atmosphere when you're there or when you're watching on TV, but it affects the result of the actual contest. Now, everybody knows home ground advantage is the thing.
Yeah.
And Kyrgios came through a match in the second round where he was down 2 match points, but the fans were just all over the guy.
Yeah.
Like, Dimonor's such a guy that draws on that crowd. I'm not saying he would have won, but having no crowd does affect the outcome to some extent. And we need the crowd, don't we? I feel that way.
I think from a viewership aspect and, being able to go and see the tennis and everything, it is sort of privileged. It's not an unfair advantage, but it's a privileged advantage that if you're one of 4 countries, you get a home Grand Slam crowd. And
that's
without
true.
a doubt, I think, such as de Minaur and Kyrgios, it can affect and give them a leg up. Interesting conversation. They say Novak also thrives on the crowd, but for a different sort of reason.
He's always the villain.
He's the villain.
Yeah.
He was there yelling and screaming at nobody yesterday.
Yeah.
But
I don't think he's that unhappy with no fans. And that woman who had a go at Nadal, I mean, she's a great... She'd had a few sherbets, I reckon.
Sherbets. And,
she was on the Pims, that one.
Yeah. But, no crowd can also increase the chances of other players. You all of a sudden, quarterfinal of a Grand Slam playing a big match, and you haven't got 15,000 people in front of you.
And that's what I was about to say. Just quickly, Djokovic beat Raonic last night in 4 sets. Will play Zverev in the quarterfinal. That'll be interesting because Djokovic's got a little bit of a niggle. Zverev, everybody's waiting. He was going to be the big guy to take on the big 3, the big 4. Hasn't happened. This might be it. And Team, who beat Kyrgios, got done in straight sets by Dimitrov. So
I missed that.
That's interesting whether that Kyrgios match took it out of him or whether Dimitrov just played well. I didn't get to see it.
No.
But changing to the women's, you got Barty now. She's obviously, we've had a chat. Australia didn't quarantine at home, the whole deal.
Yeah, she's fit.
The draw has opened up.
Yeah.
She's got Svitolina, which is the most likely semi-final opponent. Yep. On the other side, you got Williams is taking on Simona Halep in the quarterfinal. Simona Halep, number 2 in the world. Osaka would play the winner of that if it all went to form. So Osaka, Williams, Halep all together. Barty just looking like she's going to go through, touch wood, anything can happen. But then you could have a situation where Australia could have a woman champion. How many years? I think we've been waiting something like nearly 50 years.
Well, it'd be early
'70s, I believe.
Goolagong, maybe.
And you might have no crowd there.
Well,
and I want to talk about that. And also, secondly, if Barty wins with the advantage she's had of being Australian at home, is there an asterisk next to that in your opinion?
I don't think so. I think we'll address the asterisks first. I think I think if you make mention of that, and if you're another player who makes mention of that, it's been a bit petty, sort of loserish.
No, not players, but you know, like you or I, we're having around the water cooler.
I don't think so. Is there a yeah? I guess you know, is it offset by not having a crowd, but to sort of spear on? But I also think, like we were talking earlier about Dimonor and Kyrgios, I think not having a crowd could actually work in Barty's favour, because all of a sudden, yes, it's a leg up, but every time she goes out to practice, every time she walks between practice courts and courts, just the crowd consistently, come on Ash, you're doing well, blah blah blah, it could work in her favour.
She doesn't want to let them down though.
She's left alone, she concentrates. But we would have had the same conversation at this time last year, mate. World number one, draw opened up, she lost to Cannon in the mid-teens in the finals.
She did.
Who then beat another mid-teens ranked player in the final.
That's right.
So, women's tennis is a dog's pick a lotto number.
Because you got Serena, and she hasn't won a slam in 4 years.
No.
And then you've got just these, like, literally 20 players who can win.
Well, as we talk, I know before I came over here, because I see this year, I don't know when you go back, but it's probably one of the biggest amount of top 10 players left in the second week of a Grand Slam in the women's draw for a long time.
Right.
And check the scores, and Svitolina lost today to rank number 61.
Oh, Svitolina lost?
On the way, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
that's just happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, we did have a check. That happened while we were out today. I checked this before I came.
So that's opened up.
Just when you think
even more.
You might be able to, you know, it's Svetlina, and we've happened in the past with Halep and Pliskova. Every time you think Barty last year, you think a seed's going to win, someone comes up.
Because Halep she's another one. She can look great, and she's won a Grand Slam or two, but she's lost to nobodies as well.
Well, yeah, she's lost two, and they all have. And it's like Svetlina, one of the favourites, world number 5, bang, 61 goes out.
Just quickly, mate, who's going to give me two winners?
Two winners? I'm going to go Medvedev.
Not your boy.
I think...
wow.
I think...
I'm stunned. I thought it was a lock.
No, I think obviously I want it. I think in the past, Rafa builds into tournaments, he gets past the top 10 quite well, then he's ready to go against one of the big guys. I think this year, the top 10 is bigger and greater than just the top 2. I think if all things go to plan, and he gets through today, he's going to have to beat Tsitsipas, he's going to have to beat Medvedev, and then he's going to have to beat Joker or Zverev. I think it'll be too much for him. I think Medvedev, from the way he finished last year, he started. I'll go Medvedev. And in the women's, I'm going to go, I forget her name, I wrote it down.
You've forgotten it?
Brady, she's the world number 25. The reason I'm going that is because you can never pick them.
Righto, just a total wildcard. If that comes in, you're going to look like a genius.
Brady.
Absolute genius. Is that because of Tom Brady? You just figure, you know, hey.
Who's that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I said Nadal before the tournament starts. I'll stick with that, and let's go Ash Barty. You're going to never have a better chance than this. Yeah. I really think so.
You say
and if it's against Serena, that'll be a match.
I still think, with the asterisks, would you rather say you won it with no crowd or you didn't win it at all?
I'm still, being the romantic that I am, I'm still hoping that they're going to lift the lockdown on Wednesday, Thursday, and you're going to get crowds.
Every chance it might happen.
Let's cross our fingers, because the Victorians, they deserve that, and the tournament deserves it. If it doesn't happen that way, well, so be it. But that would just be, that'd be great. Because that's the image that people are going to see around the world. Mm-hmm. That's what we want to show, if we can. If it's safe to do so.
It's our Grand Slam,
Now, just going to change tack here a little bit, talk a bit about baseball. Now, the Australian Baseball League had its finals weekend just gone, And once again, COVID has wreaked havoc with that. So in the Australian Baseball League this year, they had a shortened season, COVID, bubbles, playing games, so forth. And unfortunately for them, they had the whole finals, this sort of like a carnival of 6 or 7 days worth of finals, all being played in this hub in Victoria. So what happened was the final was meant to be yesterday, Sunday, and it got to Friday. It turned out this was the game to be played on the Friday, but before COVID happened, the winner of this game was going to play in the grand final. The loser was going to play a game against Canberra on the Saturday and go in. It became clear on Friday that at midnight they were going to have a lockdown. So therefore, the games on Saturday, Sunday, had a choice between playing them with no fans, or they made the decision. The Friday game is the grand final. So Canberra had won a game the day before, was still alive. They got told you're out.
Yeah.
This has happened at midday on Friday, and the two teams who were playing Friday night to get into the grand final, they said this is the grand final.
That's the grand final.
So not ideal.
No,
but
it's the times we live in.
That's just the way it is. That's the decision they made.
Any reason you couldn't keep it for a week? It was.
Well, I don't know, mate, and I think it's been on Fox Sports this year. If anyone's interested in a bit of baseball, the Australian League is better than people might think. International leagues actually recognise the Australian League being pretty solid.
Okay.
Considering the proportion of the country that follows and plays baseball, the league is decent. This year, my beloved Bandits didn't get in. Unfortunately, they didn't figure in the finals. Melbourne Aces were the eventual winners in this reconfigured ad hoc system, and they've gone back to back there, beating Perth 9-2, actually pretty emphatic. So Melbourne Aces back to back baseball premiers, their 24th Claxton Shield that they've ever won. So congratulations to them, and let's hope by the time next season rolls around that we can have a bit of a proper season and finals and so forth. All right, mate, get ready to get confused. Super Rugby, or rugby in general.
Okay.
Right, you a bit of a rugby fan?
I don't follow it like I used to. I think too much content of other sports now to saturate my time in, so I'm not quite up to date with it all.
It's on the wane in this country. Yeah. Internationally, it's going great guns.
Absolutely, yeah.
In this country, it's been on the wane for a long time, partly because of the way it's been run.
Yep.
And there's other things, but that's partly it. So first of all, before we talk about the rugby, the season starts this weekend coming, and we're going to have the Super Rugby Australia and the Super Rugby New Zealand. Due to COVID, they're not. I don't know if people are aware that they've changed the format. Australia plays Australia, New Zealand plays New Zealand. At the end of the season, they have a little bit of mixing around, and then they have a little bit of a Champions League set up. I like it. I think that in the old setup where the Reds are going to South Africa this day, New Zealand the next day, a week's rest, and someone's coming here. It was really expensive, bloated. You had the Sunwolves coming in from Japan, and then next year, they're not going to play anymore. Western Force, they're in, they're out. I mean, it was a dog's breakfast. COVID's kind of forced it all to sort of live within its means, which is good. But I guess the big news is rugby is now left Foxtel, and is on Stan Sport. Now, Stan Sport at this moment doesn't exist. It is going live, I think, this week in time for the games. So, a lot of people were happy. A lot of people don't like Foxtel, whatever. The thing is, if you've already got Stan, for those, it's a streaming service, you can pay an extra $10 a month, and you've got rugby.
Okay.
If you don't have Stan, you can't just buy the $10 rugby.
Right.
So, for someone like myself, like I don't currently have Stan, if I want to watch rugby, it's costing me $27 a month for one sport, because on Stan Sport there is one sport.
It'll
rugby.
Be two soon.
What's the second one?
They've got, I believe, Wimbledon, and I believe the French as well.
Tennis?
Yes.
But that'll be on free to air, wouldn't it?
Probably the big matches, yeah, but I'm pretty sure...
The extended coverage.
The extended coverage I read last
year. Well, there you go. Well, at this point, one sport.
So it's increasing, yeah.
So rugby's struggling for viewership. They've now got it on a streaming service for $27 a month. There are people the rusted on people will go and watch it there.
Yeah.
But they were going to watch it on Foxtel anyway.
Yep.
I'd argue that less people are going to watch it now.
I'd probably be in agreement.
Yeah. Also, having had some history with streaming services, Optus Sports comes to mind. It's not great. I've got good internet, but if you've ever had the pleasure of watching Optus Sport, trying to watch a EPL game at 2 in the morning and watching the Pixels, or there was the infamous World Cup where, the whole thing was just like a test pattern and Argentina nearly went to war.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No.
I would love to see these sort of elderly boomer rugby fans trying to watch rugby Chromecasting from their phone to their smart TV or watching it on their iPad. Good luck. Apparently, rugby haven't got any commercial deals, so basically your pub isn't going to show Stan, from what I understand. They might nut something out. So there's all that. The only good thing I can say is that there's finally going to be a free-to-air game. One a weekend.
Okay.
And it's on Channel 9, but I believe they're not going to put it on 9.
Is it live?
They're going to
Live.
but it's going to be on Gem or next to, Storage Wars and Ice Truckers and whatever.
So it won't be HD.
I don't think it's going to be HD. It might be on Peach or whatever. I don't know. But there is going to be a free-to-air game. So that's something because they've needed that badly. So there's all that.
Yeah.
Right? Are you still with me?
Yeah.
Right. Now, in 2015, Rugby signed a 5-year deal for their broadcast right. This is in the Foxtel days. $285 million was their 5-year deal. When you think about NRL, AFL doing $2 billion, right? $285 million. Going around this time, Foxtel offered them $161 million. So that tells you what Foxtel thought. They thought, we were giving you $280, now we're going to give you $160. That's what they thought the value was. Raylene Castle knocked that back, and they are now on a 3-year deal for $100 million on a streaming service. So, great administrative skills there. Guess she showed them. So knocked back, they're on less money. They've got the free-to-air game, but $100 million for 3 years. Look at I think AFL's doing about $400 million a year. It's.
I think, yeah.
So that shows you how much money is not in the game.
It's going to be very hard to increase viewership and new fans through the game with that sort of coverage.
Yeah. Stan is semi-popular. There are people who will see the extra $10 as a bit of a no-brainer. Yeah. But there'll be people who'll say, "Oh, I'm not doing that." That's basically the same price as KO. When KO gives you how many different sports?
Yeah.
Whereas you're going to get one or maybe another one to come this year. They've priced themselves as the most expensive sport. I see problems.
$27. Would you pay $27 a month for the NRL? $7. Yeah, $7 a week. I would. That's $1 a game.
I'm an NRL tragic. Yeah, so I would.
That's $1 a game.
But I wouldn't like it, and I would be still complaining about the value of that. But I don't know.
You got to be. I think with rugby plays in the same time traditionally. I guess New Zealand, when they play Super Rugby, it's a little earlier, but traditionally they're up against an AFL or an NRL game.
They are.
And, it's no wonder, Foxtel's probably looked at their viewership numbers and thought, well,
I think the money Foxtel offered them was about right. I mean, you could it depends on the wealth you're generating.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see how that goes. So get your, and don't forget you've got to provide your own internet. So, for people who don't have great data limits and stuff, I've got the 4K Stan package. Cool, all right. Well, 2-hour game on 4K Stan might be about 5-6 gigabytes. And
a lot of people in the country regions who don't get, all those people who have acreage in the country aren't going to be able to watch it.
Or dad's watching the rugby and mum's upstairs watching something else on the internet, and someone's got the PS5 going, and oh boy,
it's on.
It's good times. Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Go Raylene.
Go Raylene, who's off into the sunset.
I think I need her references for my resume, Trev.
Don't
work.
Even go there. Don't even go there. Anyway, so the rugby itself, Western Force this week is going to start the season playing the ACT Brumbies, and the Queensland Reds are going to play the Waratahs in a highly anticipated match. And I actually am genuinely looking forward to some of the games. The New Zealand Super Rugby starts next week, so this weekend is just Australia. But just when you thought you were in the twilight zone, I'm going to take you further. Rugby is trying to change some laws of the game to speed it up, to make it more interesting. The thing is that the two countries, Australia and New Zealand, haven't agreed on which ones to go by. So when it comes to the goal line dropout rule, I won't get right into it. Goal line dropout rule, the change, they're both doing it. Ruck speed, Australia says yes, New Zealand says no. Red cards, yeah. The 50 to 22, which is like the 40-20 in league, Australia says yes, New Zealand says no. The 22-50, Australia yes, no. Kickoffs and restarts, Australia yes. There's literally, I've got it here, there's like 6 or 7 laws that are going to be different in their comp and our comp, but in the same year, we're going to play them. Then what do we do?
So what happens internationally?
I don't know.
What happens with the winners?
I don't know, and no one. I've asked around, and everyone's going, I don't know.
Maybe you play half and half on New Zealand rules, half on Australian rules.
Maybe
a hybrid game, mate.
Like, this is the thing that, like, I applaud them for trying to change some rules and speed the game up. Yep. I applaud them, but that they couldn't make this any harder. They've had to put out.
Who's making the new rules and who's sticking by the tradition?
I think the Australians are making the new rules because they're looking at every other sport that's trying to speed up.
Okay.
And they're saying we need to speed up. Whereas in other countries where rugby's really popular, they're going, we don't need to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
Good point.
So, yeah, anyway, good luck with that. You need a degree to work that out. But anyway, Super Rugby starting this week. Just quickly,
I guess it'd just be more penalties.
I don't know what's going to happen. I look forward to it. Maybe if the new faster rules work in Australia, other countries might take it on, but they might not as well. Just before we leave rugby, the Six Nations is happening at the moment. Wales are undefeated, and in the first round, Scotland beat England at Twickenham for the first time in 38 years.
That's the crowd factor.
And that's the crowd factor, isn't it? That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
nothing to do with England being average.
No, not at all. Eddie's got them going.
Eddie said it was unforgivable, quote, unforgivable. He said he'd be wearing that one for a while. The last time Scotland beat England at Twickenham, Margaret Thatcher was in her first term as Prime Minister, and Billie Jean was the number one on the top 40.
Blimp in the radar, mate.
Righto.
Blimp in the radar.
But yeah, like, fair enough, no crowds, that's it. Mate, lastly but not leastly, if that's even a sentence, football, the world game. Mm-hmm. Champions League starting up this week. Barcelona taking on Paris Saint-Germain. Leipzig is playing Liverpool. Porto is going to play Juventus. Ronaldo coming up against his old... he didn't play for Porto, he played for Sporting Lisbon, didn't he? But... or did he play for Porto? Anyway, the Portuguese star going back to Portugal. And Sevilla is playing Dortmund. Champions League, obviously, this is the business time. We've had the Christmas break.
A couple of big names missing there.
There's more. This is the first half. There's more next week. So there's still 16 teams remaining.
Gotcha.
But they'll whittle them down. Just depends on, this is where domestic form can be affected by having to,
squad sizes, all that,
Liverpool looking shaky.
Yeah.
We'll see. In the EPL... Man City just roll on 3-0 over Spurs. This is a good opponent, 3-0. Liverpool got beat by Leicester 3-1 and complained about the referee. It looks like it's fallen apart. Klopp's not having as much fun this year. Man U this morning, 1-1 with West Brom. Couldn't drop those points. Man City are now 7 points on top with the game in hand. There is 14 games to go, but...
Tough to chase them down.
Yeah. I think it's almost good night.
Foregone. They'd be a Newcastle flop from the mid-90s, I think.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for them to lose.
Oh, for them to lose, yeah. Mate, that's all we got time for.
Okay.
We're done. How'd you go, mate? Episode
Didn't
7
didn't
done.
get my cricket rant, mate.
You want to have a cricket rant?
No, it's all good.
Get you on back next week. All right, well, we'll have to love you and leave you on that one. But thanks for everyone for watching, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.